Hello everybody, thank you for watching this video that gives you a little bit of insight into how the AP digital exams are going to be running in May. It's kind of important that we look at this a little bit because you can't just walk into the exams in May and not know how you're going to be signing in and how you're going to interact with the website and everything like that, or I should say Blue Book, the app that's going to be running. So just to let you know, we have had to have a little bit of a change in things because originally it was supposed to be that we were just going to have about 3 exams for AP switching over to digital this coming year. But then there was a little bit of an issue with exam security, and the College Board said, nope, we're all in. Everybody, US, Canada, everybody is switching over to a digital exam format. So that's going to be for everybody this coming May. Now, what is this going to look like? Well, it does depend a little bit on the subject that you're writing a test for. So let's say you're in computer science, say English Lit or psychology. You're going to be doing a fully digital AP exam. And what I mean by that is you'll get into the classroom, you'll sign into a Chromebook with your College Board account, nothing to do with your ECSD account, and then you'll start the multiple choice part. You'll do that, you'll get about a 15-minute break, you'll come back into the classroom, and you'll write the second part, the free response, by typing in your written response work. Everything will be in Blue Book. If you're in a course like biology, calculus, chemistry, physics 1, physics 2, or statistics, they understand that all the stuff you have to write out with formulas and drawing diagrams and stuff like that would make everything digital miserable. So you'll still come into the classroom, you'll sit down, you'll use your College Board account to sign into the Chromebook, and you'll do the multiple choice all digitally. You'll take your 15-minute break, and then you'll come back and you'll go back into Blue Book, and it'll show you the questions in Blue Book digitally, but you're going to have a paper booklet in front of you that you write your answers in. And that's what's going to be sent in for your free response questions. So what's Blue Book look like? Well, the good news is you can already take a look at it yourselves. If you haven't already, you can go to the website I've got there, and there's a few links you have to click through, or scan that QR code, and on a Windows or Mac computer, and it also is supposed to work on iPads, you can install Blue Book and start taking a look at it right now. They apparently are trying to make it look so that it has a similar sort of format to the AP Classroom, not Google Classroom, AP Classroom, so that students kind of get a little bit of familiarity by looking at both of them. That's sort of an idea. So if you log in now, you can take a practice test. It's not really a practice exam in the sense that it covers a whole bunch of stuff for like 3 hours, like a real AP exam. It's more for you to see how the system looks. So you can see here in this screen, we've got a clock at the top, which is the countdown clock. You can hide that until you get to 5 minutes left in the exam. And then you have to leave it there because it forces you to see there's like counting down for 5 minutes left. This is, though, what a multiple choice question part of the test will look like. So you can see there's text to the left and there's questions to the right. Now, the good thing here is you'll notice that the question is referring to lines 1 to 6. And so it kind of gray highlighted that for you so you know what to look at. And if you want to highlight stuff, the College Board now has digital highlighting at least. You click up here and you can highlight things. You can also add little notes. When you're doing the questions, when you're done like this question, you would click next. But what if you're not sure about it? Then you could click mark for review, or maybe you're even looking at it and you know that answers D and E aren't right. So you'd click on this and cross out D and E as I'm not even going to bother looking at them. And at any time during the test, you can click this window down at the bottom and it pops up and shows you questions you've answered, questions you haven't, and ones that you've marked for review. So you can actually bounce around back and forth as you work through these questions. You can also take this gray bar and push it either way to give yourself either more room for reading or more room for answering, all sorts of good stuff. When you're doing the short answer stuff, it basically pops up a window here that looks kind of like, doing a Google Doc. The only thing is it doesn't give you a lot of formatting options, so don't expect it to be too terribly fancy. It's meant for just basically typing in text, right? It is also worth mentioning at this point that the one way that apparently you can really get Blue Book screwed up is if you close the lid on a device. That's like the only way that you can lose work. So if you are practicing around with this, just get used to the idea that you never close the lid on your device. You'll always just be working on stuff, minimizing windows if you need to, moving on to other things. Now, some questions people ask. What's it going to look like if you have accommodations? Everything is digital, even if you have accommodations. The only exception to that is, like let's say, for example, somebody has a very significant vision impairment and they need their exam in Braille, then a paper copy will be sent out to them. What about if you have things like accommodations for extended time or breaks? The Blue Book app will take care of that because we'll have arranged that in advance. And it is worth reminding you that accommodations for AP exams have nothing to do with O'Leary. They have nothing to do with Alberta Ed. If you think you deserve accommodations, you have to see me and Mrs. Paskovich as soon as possible, because the cutoff to get that organized is actually January. And if we don't have it for you, you don't get accommodations. Does it change how we're going to do the tests? Like, are you going to be at home or something? No. Everything's still going to be at school in classrooms. Proctors will supervise you, and it'll take like the same amount of time and everything like that. That part of it stays the same. What about late exams? If somebody gets sick or they're in a car accident or something, we can get you deferrals to late exams. We can't just do it willy-nilly, but we can do it if there's a reason. The late exams happen after those first 2 weeks of May when the regular exams are. And because they don't have to send out a whole bunch of testing materials, they've actually stretched it out over a full week. So we don't have to worry about cramming late tests in quite so much. But that's something that we'll take care of if necessary, and they will be digital still. What about if your Chromebook freezes up? I know everybody gets nervous about stuff like that. As long as you had stable Wi-Fi up until that point, everything you were working on is still there, and we would restart the device and try to recover your work, or we'd switch you over to a new Chromebook and your work will be there. Okay, so what if school-wide the internet just dies? The College Board only actually needs Blue Book to really for sure have a connection at the very start and very end of the test. And that's because at the beginning, it downloads a encrypted file that is your test. And at the very end, it says, and here's everything as an encrypted file back. Anything in between is just extra safe for making sure that we can recover work if something happens. But if things go really weird here at the school, we'll still get you to finish writing the test. And then we actually have 4 days to get internet back up and running again and get that Chromebook running again. And that's when it'll shove up all of your answers and everything to the College Board. So we can take care of that. Does it change anything like how the tests will be marked or number of questions or something? No. The Blue Book digital testing doesn't change that. There are a few tests, for example, physics, that said they were switching to having a different number of free response questions. That's still happening, but that's nothing to do with Blue Book. So the tests are still out of 5. The number of questions are going to be the same as they were planning all along. That stays the same. But what's the most important thing for you? Just that you can sign into your College Board account. Because remember, that's not your ECSD account. It's the College Board account that you created with them so that you could then use that special join code to join your AP exam. That's what you got to be able to use. The the email address and the password that you set up, you have to be able to do by memory. You can't like do this on your phone and Chrome remembers the password. You have to be able to log in yourself to be able to start the exam. So that's something you need to practice and make sure you can do it. So that's why I'd suggest get Blue Book now. At home, you can scan that QR code and see what the website is, or if you're looking at this as a slideshow, you can click that link and install it at home. Just remember, this is just for practice, okay? It's nothing to do with your actual testing day. But what it'll do right now is let you go into what it's calling test preview. So it just lets you see what Blue Book looks like, and it goes through these mini like 15 question sort of tests, just so you play around with it. The College Board has said that at some point they do actually hope to release like full-blown AP practice exams that'll be like, like 3-hour tests that you can do to kind of get really up to speed on what are these tests going to be like. So if you have any questions, please drop by room 110 and ask me, or send me a Teams message. Otherwise, visit these websites for more information, and I wish you the best of luck as you continue working through AP.